that will end in a draw, because both teams, here's the thing, both teams are fighting for the same thing right now, and it's that potential for what is that?
A spicy Monty ban. I believe we've seen one before in like Europe, I think. But it's I mean on this map, but it's it's an interesting one. I mean, I got to imagine Lion is next, but there's, I mean, sky's the limit when you ban Monty.
Yes, indeed. It's just an odd one. We don't really see that. There you go, Lion. So the standard will maintain itself in this match, at least to an extent, and that Lion, it won't be played.
Yeah. Defense bans, probably going to be the usual Clash Mirror here, but we'll see. There's still...
Every team that's banned Lion so far today has also banned Clash.
Yeah.
So that's a knowledge right there. That's a team... that's knowing that your opponent is going to ban Lion and Clash, and the other team choosing to work around that. Liquid having an advantage in the ban phase because of those bans. Neither team wants to deal with either of those operators, I'm sure.
Well, that's 2 shields off the board at least. But yeah, the other bans more expected.
Very much so.
I mean, I don't know if Monty was going to be a big part of it or not. That's Liquid's guess in that sense, but it definitely will not be played. I mean, we did, I guess, see it once last matchup there on Border, but not the most common operator to be played, especially in a region that's more than happy to play Blitz over Monty.
Can be very powerful on this map, though, if we're being honest.
Absolutely. We will start in Aviator Games, which is fairly well represented, but not always the primary. We'll get, again, Finka being played by another team, potentially, if they stick with that. Pulse, however, will be a little bit of a sneaky play that gets 6-picked off of to that Maestro. So Maestro getting to play his map.
So I'm looking at the stats right now, and I think Liquid has the tiebreaker technically against Immortals. Should Immortals lose their match to Ninjas in Pajamas, I believe there's still a possibility for Liquid to go to land. T1, on the other hand, does not. They lost both of their matches to Immortals earlier in the season. So, I mean, again, it's going to come very much down to the wire. These matches are so close that it's hard to actually look at the stats right now and make an absolute identification of who can and cannot. But it should be, yeah, Liquid fighting for that spot still technically. Though, again, with Immortals playing their match against Ninjas in Pajamas later today, even if Immortals draws, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, 1 point is all it's going to take for Immortals.
I gotta imagine they're going to be watching this too, you know, so they know where they stand going into their match.
Oh, I'm sure they are, yeah. My point here is just that while technically speaking there's a lot on the line here for Liquid and for T1, I guess, in a sense, I feel like it's still so much in the hands of Immortals. And the reason being is that Immortals have set themselves up so well this season. They've just been playing a better regular season. We saw a lot of uproar around what happened in North America, a lot of drama, a lot of things being said. And the honest truth is that some teams found themselves in those positions because they had a bad season.
What's interesting to me is, in some ways, if Immortals are able to take it instead of Liquid, that is a little bit of a revenge story for one.
I suppose, yeah.
Because he was kind of left behind by the rest of the players on Liquid.
Yeah, I mean, it's very likely that Immortals will get the second slot no matter what. I mean, it just looks so good for them right now, considering their opponent, considering that they only need the 1 point, and considering that this match must result in a win. And very likely only for Liquid will it matter then.
Yeah.
Either way, here we go. As T1 clearing out the bottom floor, they have brought the Jackal, which was going to be very useful in looking for those roamers. And it will already detect one, though not a roamer in this case, an Anchor, who is inside the bomb site, trying to delay this push as long as possible from the 90-degree hallway. Peeking a little bit wildly, and speaking of wild, Hugzord will take down Sexy Cake from below, and goes for a second kill off of the marks from his teammate.
Does at least about half damage or close enough to it as well, though. So that was still absolutely worth that ping. I mean, obviously the hole's open up as well. He's going to have to be careful that it doesn't get used against him. But Legion's still doing work from the grave on the Blackbeard, who's going to have to wait just a second before he can pull it out. You know, it takes a decent amount of damage.
Liquid just holding on. They have taken some damage from the Buck, but it's not all over yet. Bullet in a good position to deny the push, but from the side, what are you doing, Panico? Shoot him! The shield is just barely blocking the line of sight there, but not all of them. Hugzor will take him down. Panico also gets Nesk, and oh wow, it's a complete sweep up from T1. A confusing round in many ways. The setup and the execution from T1. I'm puzzled a little bit by what was going on by the gun vault. I mean, the Jaeger was peeking over the shield for just a while there, and we could have seen a kill. Follow that up with the fact that the wall was not reinforced. I'm really taken aback there.
I mean, I gotta imagine he was thinking they were gonna lose that wall either way, so why not just set up with the shield and be ready for it? But it absolutely did not work. I mean, the flashbangs were a nice touch with that, though, making sure that he was a little bit blinded for that.
I don't get the shield at all either. I mean, it's not enough to deny a push
your
into
body's
the gun
like
vault.
the size of the shield.
Yeah, the shields are reliable in longer range engagements, but at angles like that, if the thermite had gotten close enough, you know, yes, the Jaeger is behind cover, but you can look over the shield at that range. Yeah. Like, you don't have to, the kill is right there.
Well, we know like 90% of the time, shields are used for just peeking a pixel on the side of them. They're not used for, let's hold a spot and just be like this unstoppable force.
You can use it to do that, but it needs to be, again, at a range, because perspective on the angles in this game are very much, you know, like a thing. If you just look over it, if you're close enough.
It would have made more sense for it to be back further towards a door so that possibly he could have jumped out to the side into one of the rooms as well and given himself that range.
I mean, aside from the shield, though, the overall setup from Liquid was a little bit odd. They didn't have very many roamers downstairs. In fact, I don't think they had any, and because of that, they lost a lot of well, they lost a life and a lot of HP due to the buck from just below. So just in general, the attack strategy from T1 solid. I love their use of the Jackal. I love their use of the buck, and the actual eventual collapse on the site was unhindered because, I mean, you don't have things like the mirror window facing Study, so we even had a Blackbeard inside of Study doing a lot of damage as the rest of his team collapsed from the hallway.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice when you get that gun vault push along with a Study push into the room.
And the thing is that gun vault was opened up. I believe it was impacted.
Oh, my.
Either it was impacted or left unreinforced, but either way, definitely a mistake from the defense. We've seen some teams try to leave that open and fail almost every single time. You need to keep gun vault wall intact.
It's an easy reinforcement to make.
Yeah, and then, you know, you could even technically bandit trick it. Somewhat difficult. I believe there's a drone hole next to it, but no matter the case, it is workable.
Well, either way, they're not going to try that site again just yet. They're going to go to Trophy and Statuary instead. We'll see how that works out. Unfortunately, there's only so many angles you can get into that skylight gap there, but he is definitely going to try and do something with it. In the meantime, they are going to take some top floor control here. Got Panico running around as well, looking for another angle. They're just mostly droning at the moment, but I feel like they'll take control of a lot of it fairly quickly once they have the position of the defenders. And then the top of the wall there set up for potentially an impact trick if needed.
And there's the opportunity for the impact tricking, but of course going to have to be careful of the nades that you saw Hugzord setting himself up for. Team Liquid just holding on as long as they can, and well, they've already delayed for half the round.
Also, they've Jackal tracked that smoke there. That will help with trying to get this open, because now that they know he's been pushed off, they can go for opening it up, and they do.
First thermite will be successful. The impacts will not follow up from the Legion, and the second one has been placed, if I'm not mistaken. Zig gonna eat a lot of damage. He is now trapped in this corner, trying to fight his way out, but very likely to be caught in that rotation. Second thermite finally detonates. The whole master wall is now open. PSK trying to deny the push from Bathroom using his gas canisters. Will still have two in hand and not very much time. But he's spreading them thin as he attempts to deny the push from A and Bathroom. He cuts off the rotation hold, allowing Zig to, well, rotate, and that keeps the Valkyrie in play. Bullet will take out Hugzor, first kill of the round. Panico back on Tenesk, though. Zig still on low HP, will take out Ion, very long angle, but manages to make it work. No matter how low you are, if you can land the headshots, it doesn't matter. Bullet peeking into the Bathroom window, hears his opponent, but cannot land the shot. GDN looking for the angle now. Zig gets another one. He really should have been finished off. He's been doing so much work in this round, being allowed to survive earlier. GDN too far to really influence anything, and with 9 seconds left, he is forced to push. PSK allowing for a kill into iBlacks thanks to the shotgun and great angle play on those stairs. GDN's gotten one, but he can't get another, and Liquid will take the round.
Unfortunately for that attack, getting the wall open, fantastic. What you did from there, not a whole lot. It was a situation where everyone who was defending that wall was able to fall back successfully for the most part and establish positions where they were able to use the knowledge of where the attackers were coming from and the fact that they weren't coming from a whole lot of other places to their advantage to make those picks, because they had nice angles to be able to play against them. You know, either they were in positions where they could try and peek the attackers, or they were in positions where they were, say, like the way Zig was, in a 90-degree angle so that you weren't really able to see him on that wall. I mean, he did take a bit of damage before he backed off. But either way, it was a good play against two attackers who had to push their way into a situation where, without killing Zig, without taking control of even Astronomy possibly, they just didn't have a whole lot of pressure to be able to apply. And the lack of a real good flank coming out to kind of jar them off those positions just was not a whole lot they could do with that attack. So, unfortunate, they had a great start, just not a great follow-up on that. And well played by the defenders, just playing it back and playing smart. We'll see how Library goes, though. Rather than go to Aviator Games again, they're going to go downstairs to what I would consider is the worst bomb site in this map. At the moment, it's not the worst bomb site of the game or anything by far, but it is still definitely the most difficult one to defend.
It's just outside of the meta. It's possible Liquid has come up with some ingenious way to hold this bomb site.
Possible.
Though I find that unlikely. There are certain locations here on this bomb site that are easy to isolate for the attack. If you come from the main lobby, you can pretty much just plant inside of the library without any real easy way to contend for the defense. Of course, you're going to rely heavily on operators like Maestro and Echo that are not being picked right now from Liquid, which is curious. This is, if there's any bomb site where you want a Maestro and an Echo to deny the plant because you can't see the plant, this would be that bomb site.
Yep, definitely the case, but like you said, those aren't being played here, so we'll have to see. You know, maybe they do have that ingenious strategy we just haven't seen yet, but seeing what 60K picked here makes me think maybe that's not the case.
I'm just guessing that they're going to try and play aggressively, and by that I mean they're going to try and deny the site the site pressure at all just by playing off-site, by, you know, killing their opponents before they get there. I don't know, though. I feel like it would be so much easier to just bring the right tools for the job instead of trying to change the job.
Yeah.
One wall left unreinforced means Hugzord's job, speaking of, is going to be so much more important. Or GDN, really. Anyone who's soft destruction can open that panel. That is the default plant spot. So this is the curious thing. They've left the most commonly open thing unreinforced. It looks like they've made some holes above it as well. So what they're doing right now is they're relying on a bait and switch. They've got Nesk above to deny the plant on the default spot, but I don't know if that's the right call. The pressure upstairs seems rather light from Liquid, and T1 is probably going to predict this given that the wall is unreinforced.
Yeah, I mean, Liquid is very strange about the reinforcements. I remember seeing in their last Coastline match as well. They just didn't reinforce a lot. We also saw them earlier not reinforcing the gun vault, for example, upstairs. Seems like just, I mean, it's a Latin American thing a lot of times is opening stuff up rather than closing it up. But that's definitely looked like it could work against them. However, a minute and a half being burned and no one's even taken a graze from a bullet yet, as drones are mostly just trying to make sure that this corner is clear, which it definitely is not.
Bullet, very dangerous position to be playing, but he's also super important to keep alive. Looks like there'll be a thermite charge onto the default plant spot, so just more information on the same angle for the attack. Panico will yet again drone out the Jaeger. His position well known. I'm sure that they are going to do something about him very shortly. Sexy Cake looking for an angle outside, will find it. GDN puzzlingly on the study balcony. I'm not sure what he was trying to accomplish there, possibly denying the rotation from the drop down. But from above, so much damage being done here. Sexy Cake able to open up all these angles onto the default spot. Bullet will take out Panico as well from his anchor position inside a library. Hugzord will refrag onto Zig, but so far this library defense is working out for Liquid. They still have top control, and they do have a player in a position to deny the push directly into library. With so little time, all they need to do is wait. And, well, they're good at that so far. Bullet is going to be flashed out. His Jaeger's ADS is expended. Ion will secure that kill. So now control of the site goes to the attackers. Inside of Connector, you see the smoke of PSK, the final anchor, trying to hold on. Sexy Cake will rotate back, but he's going to be very late to the party in all likelihood. Ion will take out PSK, that final anchor going down. The diffuser's been planting. Ion is also going to get it down onto the returning Sexy Cake. It's a 1 versus 1. The Blackbeard versus the very lit Nesk. And this is post-plant, so the pressure is all on Nesk. Sexy Cake trying to make calls for his team. Will be successful at least telling his teammate that Blackbeard is in connector, but I don't know if that's going to change anything. One bullet from Ion is all that it takes, and one bullet is all that will land. Nest goes down. T1 take the round.
I mean, I got to admit, Bullet was able to hold him off for quite a long time. But unfortunately for him, the flashbang pretty much did him in. That's really all it took to finally make the site breach work, was just flash bullet, get him killed. Now you have site control in terms of having that default plant spot. And there just wasn't enough really set up to be able to retake that with what was going on so far, especially with too many people upstairs trying to play that, and not a good rotation back down. Just not working out that round. I mean, I appreciate them trying to do something different, but I don't think that was the right call. As you mentioned, leaving a lot of opportunity off the board there.
The thing is, that bomb site is so bad that even though everything was going Liquid's way, the initial push from T1 was thwarted by the Jaeger playing inside a library. The players above were not being hunted. They had the angles that they opened up to deny the actual push into the site. Everything looked great for Liquid. The one thing that stood in their way was Ion's Blackbeard, who just was getting kills. Yeah. All that said, though, the site is so bad that even though everything was going Liquid's way, they still managed to lose it. With
20 seconds for the plant as well.
Yeah.
So that is, yeah, definitely why you don't see that bomb site very often. I feel like the last time I saw it was from Vitality.
I also want to say, I get that you're trying to hold from above, but bring a Maestro. Bring in an Echo. These things are available to you. It's the perfect tool. You are predicting the ideal situation for those operators and then not bringing them.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, it was a risky move, and unfortunately did not work out. But hey, they're only 1 point behind so far. So it's a 2-1 situation where they could definitely bring it back. It's not the worst case scenario, and they go back to a bomb site that, yeah, they didn't win the first time, but definitely a winnable bomb site, although a little bit easier if you do have Mira in play. iBlack's, though, going to be bringing the, oh, they did, there they go, they opened it again.
I am puzzled by Liquid's play on Villa so far.
I'm expecting iBlacks to just push right through that with the blitz.
I mean, maybe, yeah, it's the ideal operator for that situation. You've got to face the crossfire at some point, but you can get past it pretty quickly, too.
I mean, you can even just hold it and let your teammates attack from the doorway.
Speaking of an ideal operator, Sexy Cake on the Cav will eliminate Ion, falls back, but with very little HP. He could still make something work, though. 99 damage from the illusion, and he will be able to continue to fight his Hugzord.
Definitely a good play by Sexy Cake, being a little more effective this round on it. He was teasing the Vigil, so either way they knew he was going to be a roamer, but the lack of picking up the Vigil signal when you're droning probably was a giveaway that he was not playing that again. They are going for the reset as they have plenty of time to do so, so might as well, and that gives Sexy Cake the opportunity to go back on the hunt. Ion, as you mentioned, was very effective on that Blackbeard last round, so that is an important kill off the board, and you rarely see someone being able to pressure down into that basement like that, but nicely done on his part.
Yeah, being able to take care of the Blackbeard is huge, and I think it will completely trip up T1. They're going to have to recover. They do have iBlacks as another form of push. That's going to be a little one-sided for the attackers, but it's not nearly as potent as the Blackbeard.
Especially in combination, if you have both of those putting pressure on from two sides, it's very difficult to do pretty much anything at that point.
Yeah, but imagine a Blackbeard peeking this doorway right now. I mean, there's just kills right in front of you. It could be, you know, an easy advantage, and now it can't happen. iBlack's looking for the potential for the rush. He has smokes. He could cut off the visual from the A bomb site and rush into gun vault, which would really hurt this attack. But he's wary of the office, the study right now that Nesk finds himself inside. So Nesk is in a very powerful position. Hugzord getting taken out by Bullet, and Nesk will also take out iBlacks and PSK onto GDN. Oh, it's done. It's a perfect round for Liquid. Wow, look at that.
Oh, it's done.
Yeah, I mean, just like that, though. A very swift cleanup for Liquid. A perfect round as well. No deaths. And, yeah, the clear advantage, or the aggressive play that they were putting out there, working to their advantage.
Yeah, definitely credit Sexy Cake with that early kill. Made a big difference in that and making that more possible because that Blackbeard off the board, not to mention an early kill slowing them down. Good play by them. I mean, he did almost die again later on after the reset. He was down very low on health, but living through it, no problem.
I mean, yeah, getting rid of the Blackbeard, who's the ideal operator to deal with all that aggression?
Yeah.
Blackbeard. Not having him, it's got to hurt.
Yep. Certainly did, unfortunately. Now they can go back to the other bomb set that they won since they did Library and Aviator in the meantime. So back to Trophy we go for a potential 3-2 into the second half. Ion, though, deciding the face shield isn't the more important part. He wants the sheer firepower and death that only Glaz can sometimes bring. They aren't bringing a ton of smoke, though, outside of the Capitao to kind of accentuate that, but that's really all you need. Is, I mean, if you have to deal with ADSs, Capitao does it. If you don't, then Glaz can do it for himself.
Yeah. Decent amount. I mean, it's plenty to work with for T1. They don't have any way of dealing with the bandit batteries, though, other than, you know, nading over or shooting them or, you know, coming from below.
Or the old floor thermite?
Yeah, you could do the floor thermite. Well, no, you can't floor thermite a bandit battery. If you place it on the floor, I'm pretty sure it gets destroyed.
I thought you could move it just slightly over, and then it won't. I don't know.
I think the floor thermite works against impact tricking, but I don't think it works against bandit batteries.
Unfortunate.
You can put it on adjacent walls, though, for sure. Still,
it's
like,
true.
like if there's on like an angle, you could do that still.
Lots of possibilities for thermite still. But as you said, those bandit batteries definitely something they're going to want to get rid of. If they can get that wall open, though, a Capitao and Glaz is a good combo for that push, because last time they got stalled out on the wall itself. If you can smoke it with 4 smokes and the ability to use fire to cut off the actual rotation, say from Astronomy or even from the other side where Zig was before by the doorway, you can easily push in and take control of the site and get a plant down while Glaz is covering, and that's a much better position to be in than they were in last time when they tried to make that push happen.
This is some good information being gathered by Zig. Great Valkyrie cam. At least going to be able to count off how many people are on the balcony. It won't be able to help you contest the balcony itself, given that it does not see the balcony, but you can at least, you can know more than you would otherwise, which is something. Outside cameras are coveted because they allow you to predict the push of your opponent.
Definitely something that was a bit of a game changer when that was introduced, is the ability to throw something outside that stays useful, as Echo's drones, for example, cannot stay outside.
Valkyrie cam is very singular in their use. Ion pushing his way into Master, and he's being covered by GDN on the window. So this is a, so far, routine push into the Master bedroom. It's going to get dangerous and heated once they actually start confronting Liquid, who are playing very conservatively in the bomb site itself. Nesk, Bandit tricking the wall. He's got 2 ADSs to work with here, but from below, is that the Capitao opening up holes? It seems to be with the LMG.
All right.
Yeah, curious that they're using the Capitao instead of the Buck. I agree with you. But it's getting the job done, as it has managed to take out at least 1 Bandit battery and force Nesk off of the tricking. The wall will be opened up. Zig, if you recall, in the last time he was defending this wall, did so much damage from this position, and this time he's on full HP.
Yeah, definitely in a good spot to do that. Like I said, the smoke's the one thing that's going to help him. Not that he couldn't just fire through that or attempt to throw a C4, but if Glaz is on top of his game, could take him out with a quick peek before that, assuming Astronomy's not on top of it. Bullet, though, is going to get the kill onto the Buck, who isn't able to do a whole lot more in the meantime.
Yeah, Buck going down, Curious. We'll analyze that later, though, as Nesk also eating a lot of damage. T1 are fighting back, but still full guns on the board for Liquid. The peek from Glaz completely destroyed by Zig. An aggressive push pays off well. And the follow-up, a double with the pistol. Zig on fire in this round. Liquid take it. And the Valkyrie, for the 2nd time in a row,
wow,
really a singular force to hold on to the Master push.
The old double dig. Well, nicely played, and that is going to put them in a nice 1-point lead here going to the round switch. So it is up to Team 1 to try and defend a little bit better and try and make sure that they're able to get at least headed towards that tie, if nothing else.
So here's what I want to look at. The defense and the attack were both identical to the last time we saw them. There were, you know, the Jaeger was playing inside of Astronomy by the boxes in the same spot he was last time. He got a kill from it again. First of all, why are you not droning that before you peek the doorway? Second of all, why are you not predicting it? It happened to you last time. It's an easy kill onto someone playing those boxes. You just pre-fire it. It's like done and dusted. Second thing, Zig playing by statue inside of Statuary. He last time did a lot of damage from there with 1 HP. This time he had full HP and still did the same amount of damage. Why is he not being accounted for? Who is not holding the doorway to cut his rotation off? Why is there a Tachanka? I have many questions.
Many questions. Not usually the best choice if Hugzord pulls this off. Kudos to him, but I can't see that as likely happening. And when you're a point down, not necessarily the best move. I am a little surprised that Liquid didn't stick with the Maverick, as Maverick's actually fairly good on attacking on this map just because you are attacking a lot horizontally in situations where you often have control of the area behind you. You know, like what we saw in Statuary, for example, being able to kind of pressure towards that. Also, the way people often reinforce the walls into either the games room or aviator room gives you the possibility to open those up, because Study is not that easy to contest as a defender. So
I will admit that this turret is actually a pretty nice one, and you can get some kills from it. But here's the thing, and the problem: it's very predictable, and it will be predicted.
Well,
as Liquid doesn't spawn anyone in Ruins.
Still a possibility, though, that someone could come up as PSK1 and Bullet both rotate upstairs, but I got to imagine they're not just going to go face check that window. I mean, you never know, though. Hugzord still going to, of course, have his guns and things like that to be able to do. Otherwise, he did get his barbed wire set up also, so not completely useless if he loses his turn. But could you imagine if they were able to jump on that turn?
He's essentially a recruit with attachments at this point, though.
Yeah, unfortunately for him. At least the PMM, as we mentioned earlier, a strong pistol, along with a decent rifle.
Yeah, the Russian SMG is pretty fantastic. iBlocks, though, will die to Nesk as he attempts to peek. So that's the Legion, probably the worst operator you could lose early on. Well, dead. Hugzord playing a very tight angle, looking for a fight, but he's not going to get the one he wants. PSK will drone him out, so every fight he takes on that window from here on out will be to his disadvantage.
Unfortunately, they're just not able to stop this pressure here. And, I mean, to be fair, though, Liquid hasn't gotten a ton of control off of it, but the fact that they also have gotten one kill and are not really being heavily contested is working out for them here, assuming they can start to get inside the building.
They do have the thermite, so as soon as they can open up that wall, they'll be able to lay down the smoke of the glass and do some damage. Speaking of, Bullet will miss both of his shots there. Firebolt, or no, Smoke Bolt, interestingly, being used to cut off the rotation. No one's going to peek it, though, so kind of a waste of a smoke, though there are plenty on the attack. You still have 3, so it's not a huge problem. The thermite will also open up the master wall, so the objective is accomplished, ultimately, for Liquid, and that's the important thing.
I mean, the upside is they burned one of Smoke's canisters, and they have the advantage in Smoke because Liquid has 4 smokes, whereas Smoke himself only has 3.
Yeah.
So even if they just went tit for tat at this point, you'd still have an advantage for Glass, assuming both the players were left alive, and unfortunately, Sexy Cake calling up Ion is not going to help him here.
Here comes the push, though, finally from Liquid. The smokes are all out. The default plant, well, not the default, actually, a far field plant spot going down, and T1 is just sweeping up house. Nesk will get Panico after 3 kills come out for T1, but Hugzord eliminates Bullet, leaving Nesk in the 1 versus 3. Not a great situation, and he has to contend with 3 very aggressive defenders who are all still buzzing from the phone call coming from Dokabi. Eventually, one by one, they will start to answer their phones, but there's so little time, it might not matter. Nesk pushing his way in will die to his sister, Ion. So excellent push there from the Ella to eliminate the Zofia. T1 takes it. As soon as the push came out there, it was the same thing we saw when T1 was trying to push from Master. A complete collapse from the defenders and an absolute slaughterhouse.
And that wasn't even the bomb site this time. I don't believe. Or no, wait, that was the bomb site.
That was the bomb site.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, they were trying to plant inside of Statuary.
Yeah.
A curious plant spot as well from the thermite. He was out of smoke, not being covered, and he died to, I believe, the Tachanka peeking him from the hallway.
And did it work out in the end, I guess?
A very weird round from Liquid. They had the. It seemed like they had that round. That's really the problem.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to go with a similar lineup this time to attack Aviator. We'll see if that works out. They are all spawning Ruins, which does scream a bit of a steady push here. Although they're going to switch over to the Thatcher instead of having the phone calls this time to be able to make sure that they can get rid of a lot of gadgetry to potentially open the wall into Aviator a little bit sooner and deal with less problems, as there was the Bandit displayed, but he 6 picks over to Castle, so the Thatcher not going to be as important to get that open this time. I mean, there's definitely the possibility, though, of some Bandit, or a Thermite, I'm sorry, no, the Impact Tricky on the Thermite happening to slow that down just a little bit. So I'll have to get around that issue as well. But they are going to bring the Mute, which is definitely something they can use to deny that wall a little bit longer. So we'll see how it works out here for the defense. This is a site that is, I mean, better than some of the other sites, but at the same time, we saw it kind of 50-50 for Liquid on their defense. They, you know, succeeded once and failed once.
Yeah, it's an odd site for sure, but I think it has a lot to do with what tools the attack are bringing. Here you can see that it's going to be a Glaz yet again from Liquid. No Blackbeard being used. It was really great for T1, but clearly Liquid have other ideas.
They are going to castle at least the study door, which is going to slow down a little bit of push there. I mean, they have some soft destruction, but really that's pretty much just
okay?
Nesk.
Is he all right?
Yeah, I don't know. He's having a little bit of issues.
Yeah. Looked like his keyboard might have been messed up there for a second, but it seems like he's recovered.
He's just, he's got some dance fever.
Curiously, T1 will be using the same setup on 90, which is that angle you see just outside of Gun Vault. They will open the Gun Vault wall instead of reinforcing it, which is, I mean, it's, yeah, different mentality. Very dangerous, though. It's a risk. It much more so than just reinforcing the wall.
Definitely seems to be part of more so of the Latin American meta.
We see them be, Latin America is the risk-taking region.
They sure are. I mean, to be fair, though, they are a region that can often pull it off. Unfortunately, not maybe as much at LAN events, but...
This is the weird thing. Every time a Latin American team makes it to an international LAN event, their playstyle just shifts. It changes from what you usually see. So, like, the way we're seeing both these teams play right now clearly is not going to be reflected on who, you know, whatever happens at LAN. I mean, it always is different, and it's weird. Anyway, the unbridled aggression going to persist in this match, and you can see that Liquid has managed to wrangle control of Study and Study Hall away. And that's the important thing. They've gotten a foothold, and because there's no mirror window, it's a very useful foothold. They will also be able to thermite their way into the B bomb site or the A bomb site, whichever one they really choose. Options abound. Bullet going to lay down some smoke to cover this very thermite into the bar. And impact tricking is going to be the counter. Good job there from Hugzord, able to deny the first exothermic charge. More smoke's coming out from Bullet. He's going to attempt to push into the bomb site. See, iBlax is trying to contest this. He's got a camera from the Echo to gather information on the push. He's also got support from his teammate of Panico in the hallway. He's got that C4 prepped and ready.
Nicely played by iBlax, hiding behind that. Unfortunately, gives away his position, but the Glaz can still not get him.
Yeah, a couple missed shots there from Bullet. That's not ideal for Liquid. Firebolts are in hand for PSK. He could, in theory, fire the castle, but it's too late now. Long angle from Ion all the way onto 90 degree. Panico in a very important position, but he's being flanked right now. Does he know it? Yes, he does, but he misses the shots. Oh, no! iBlax will take out PSK, though, and GDN gets Nesk after Sexy K gets his frag. Another one for iBlax before he's finally shut down. Hugzord pushing into the flurry, and he will get one. Bullet has been downed, and T1 will take the round as they finish off Bullet. A collapse onto the planting attackers. It was too much of a one-sided attack from Liquid, and ultimately cost them.
It was unfortunate situations too where the Glaz was a nice play, but the fact that he couldn't find angles on anyone except for that one towards the end that might have been even in the gun vault, it was just... He was in a position so long that wasn't able to really lead to many kills, and the way iBlax was able to just hide right in front of him, just completely invincible at that point, because even when he exposed himself, it was briefly right back to the hidden position, and because Glaz would have to push into such a compromised position to take him out, not much you could do.
I feel as though there are many tools that Liquid could have used to deal with that castle, and they just chose not to. PSK had firebolts.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, is the Capitao, because I mean, he can do his smokes, and you don't necessarily need the firebolts other than maybe to cut off the rotation from the gun vault itself. It's obviously leaves you with one spare. They're also going to try downstairs, but this case, not library. Probably the smarter choice going down to the kitchen, dining. We'll see. Yeah. So far, they are 2 for 2 on their defenses, though, which is definitely giving them a bit of a lead here. Just by 1 point, but it's still a lead nonetheless against Liquid.
Yeah, that's the important thing. They need but one more round to at least guarantee a draw, but 2 more to get the win. So that's what they so desire. They've been working hard for it, though, and that last round, I think a lot of it just comes down to the fact that Liquid didn't have a response for the impact tricking. They instead adapted their take to just push in through an odd angle, and it didn't work.
Yeah, I mean...
Relying on a Glaz that doesn't hit their shots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine you don't expect the impact tricking at this point.
It's confusing. Yeah, I would have, you know, thing is, when you're dealing with impact tricking, that is when you put the thermite on the floor, and then after you put the thermite on the floor, you open up the hole underneath, and you can't, sometimes, depending, you can't prone through it, sometimes you can. It really, again, it depends on where you put it exactly, but what you can do for sure is deny anyone impact tricking it. You can shoot them as they attempt to do that. There are some angles where this is not possible, but it at least deters the impact tricking in the first place. And there's possibility for the follow-up thermite. A peek from Hugzord will not work out in his favor, though it narrowly did. A wrong moment for him to go for that.
Either way, it's going to put some fear into them and slow down their push a little bit. Now they're going to have to drone that more carefully, which is going to slow them down slightly. iON, in the meantime, having some sensitivity issues, it seems.
Yeah. Hopefully he's okay.
Maybe some therapy will help with that.
What? I mean...
For sensitivity.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Sure. The push onto Master is coming out in earnest now from Liquid. They're starting to drone their way in, looking for their targets. iON playing in the bathroom will be aware of this window being open next to him, and this is dangerous for him to play around.
Well, I mean, it seems to be working. They're doing a lot of aggressive peaks that are not really being punished. I mean, they're being very close to being punished, but the fact that they're getting away with them is already managing to burn a minute 20 into this attack, and everyone's still outside at this point. So, I mean, kudos to them. It's working because they're able to get away with it and then back off into different positions that are not as expected and just force more and more droning to where it's probably going to get down to the last 30 seconds before a sincere push is happening.
Zord holding on to bathroom. No, he will not be holding firmly as he starts to fall back. Plenty of time already wasted, and as the Maestro, it's better for him to stay alive. The run out from iON will be shut down by Nesk. A very predictable run out from the Ella, and the Sister Feud going the opposite direction that time. GDN will take out Sexy Cake, so even exchange so far, and the diffuser being planted will be stopped by the C4. Firebolt's helping a lot, and Bullet will start landing his shots through the smoke onto Hugzord. An excellent kill. That means those Evil Eyes will not avail the defense. Bullet gets a second one on the exit, and GDN goes down. A third for Bullet. He's on fire right now. It's all up to Panico, who will attempt to stick the diffuser disable. Well, likely not going to be successful as he is heard and broadcasting his position. He will die to PSK.
Well, finally Liquid stop a little bit of that bleeding on their attacks here. Somewhat due to Bullet finally landing a lot of those shots there and being a lot more effective that round. The push definitely went down earlier than expected as well, but part of that is just due to the proximity to the outside and the ability to get in there because there's a lot of different angles to have to fight, and the fact that you kind of have two different directions the attackers can come from to similar rooms does kind of put a little bit of difficulty in that, although they had to have predicted that was going to happen at some point, but you know, that's where smoke does its job in terms of making Glaz fairly enabled, and did exactly that. So Bullet landing those shots, making that count, completely changed things around, and unfortunately a lot of those early peaks just didn't turn into kills, and well, they had to do a lot of running around, a lot of attempted runouts to make things happen, and both of those rounds ultimately leading to the defender's death just because of predictability.
So is this going the way we expected, or is this going the way we expected?
Certainly looking like a big old tie.
Yeah, it's not quite there yet. There's still potential for a win from either party, but I don't know. I mean, this has been such a back and forth. Both teams really not allowing control to slip away.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing them run similar lineups time to get outside of the Tachanka play and things like that. It seems like, though, Liquid's lineup is, you know, having to shift slightly, is they're still struggling a little bit to try and make it a consistent execution regardless of bomb site. I mean, that was the weaker of the three bomb sites, so for them to finally succeed on that is not a really big deal for Team 1. All that meant is a tie situation, and now they get to go back to their preferred bomb sites, which are going to be Trophy and Aviator. Trophy, which they can go back to first. Aviator they can go to next if they win this. So they're not in a bad spot right now, really. I mean, if you lose that one, no big deal. It's better than we saw Liquid faring on their defense.
Certainly. I think T1 are in a pretty good position right now. iBlacks really takes offense from the scenery, it seems, as he's going to destroy it all. You know, I think it's just like a compulsive thing that a lot of players do. I mean, I don't know if you've ever done that, but I know, for example, when I'm on cafe, I always shoot all of the plants and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's one of those things. It's kind of like staying warm in a way.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, Whatever the case, it will be committed to here by T1 for whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
Now, they are going up against a very formidable lineup, the same one that we've seen used many times from Liquid so far this match. And that glass from Bullet is the hit or miss moment, I think, for Liquid as a whole. When they actually go for the site push, is Bullet performing? Is he landing his shots?
Yeah.
That's the question, and the most important one, because if he's landing his shots, there's not much that T1 has to answer back with, and if he's not, then it's a sweep.
Well, luckily they have the Maestro this time, and that's something that if, you know, the Evil Eyes are in the right position, that could give the callouts to make the difference to counter him.
That's the curious thing. They had Maestro defending the kitchen, but those cams were not utilized because Panico was eliminated too early.
That's a good point. Bullet, though, eliminated early means things are turning around, so hit or miss is not going to be an issue. It's definitely going to be a miss.
Yeah, so that's a really good start for T1, especially considering Sexy Cake seems to have taken some damage as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the change-ups, is bringing Sexy Cake on a different operator, and I mean, due to some early peaks, it didn't work out as well as he would have liked. But they are going to try and get this wall open if they can. Last time that didn't work out super great for them due to that collapse you were talking about. And they are prepared for it, but the drone's at least in a good position this time, and they did manage to try and impact trick it.
And they will be successful. The impact trick from Hugzord will deny one thermite charge. So it's getting harder and harder for Liquid. Now he's trying to use his lifeline to disrupt the impact tricking, and here comes a fake out from Zig. No impact follow-up, though. Hugzord is going to wait for the actual thermite detonation, which is the smart play, but he's actually not in a position to deny it anymore. Nask will eat some damage from Hugzord as he peeks. The smoke will keep both of them alive, though. Finally, the wall is opened up, but it can only be opened up somewhat, as the other thermite charge has already been used and destroyed. Now, T1 have a decent amount of control to hold on to this in the last 30 seconds.
And they still have the smoke, potentially from PSK, if they have at least one left on that, to try and go for that plant. But that's going to be pretty predictable. You can only cover so much room with one smoke. And lifelines, that was the last one. Doesn't matter anyways, as his life goes with it.
Panico takes down Nesk, and Zig will be going for a plant by the doorway into connector. Panico finishes him off as well. That's 2 for him, and Hugzord and Ion, the last 2 kills. T1 are really excelling at sweeping up their opponents when they go for the actual diffuser plant. The patience paying off well for the defense, and now match point, T1.
Looking pretty good, but of course, this being the last round, it still could obviously go to a tie, which gotta say, gotta agree, it's looking more and more likely, but the defenses from Team 1, again, still better than what we've seen from Liquid, but both of them managed to defend 3 times, so really it's just, essentially they've mirrored each other. Sexy Cake gonna look to change things up. Now, I gotta say, like, what have you been struggling with? Impact tricking. What kind of helps counter that? Someone who can open a nice little hole right in there to shoot someone trying to throw impacts up to it?
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Where the heck is Maverick?
They teased a pick on him earlier, and then Six picked off of it the very first round on their attacks. And, you know, that's back when they didn't, I guess, realize they were going to have so much trouble with impact tracking. But this is like, that is the counter now. They're going to bring that along with the Candelas to try and stop the over-aggression pushing against them on those plant attempts, rather than bringing the glass. And I think maybe this is the change-ups they needed. The ability to get some pressure on those walls, the ability to just storm into the room with everyone blind, rather than depending on smoke. Maybe this will work.
Yeah, finally, they do bring him. It took a while.
Yeah.
I feel like he would have been really useful earlier. Hugzord bringing Tachanka, and we have a Cav as well on iBlack. So, T1 really saying screw it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably not the round to be doing that on, but I mean, I guess if they're comfortable with a tie, I mean, why not, right? I don't know. To be fair, he did get away with it last time. I don't think that was
again. I want to say, given the tiebreaker with Immortals, the fact that T1 doesn't have it, I think that it's technically not their match. No matter what, like even if they win, I don't think they can go to Rio. I want to say, I can't say it with certainty, but I'm pretty sure. And Liquid as well, they could, but they couldn't now because T1 have already gotten match point. Good start for Liquid though. GDN will go down, and Ion still having those problems. So hopefully he fixes them soon.
Yeah, he's definitely. I mean, he's still managed to land his shots though. That's what counts on that, right?
Yeah, he is landing his shots. True.
Either way, though, again, they have all the utility on the board to make this work. iBlack's trying to channel his inner Sexy Cake, and unfortunately cannot. So PSK taking one down, along with Ion as well. Landing shots, nope. Hugzord going down as well, nope. All Panico, who's about to fall.
Yeah, 1 HP and a dream. So neither of these teams will be going to land with absolute certainty as they end the season both with 19 points. And it's all over. GG's come out in the chat, and Immortals are very certainly going to Rio.
I got to imagine that's going to bolster their morale going into this next match, and that Immortals are going to be playing with a bit of a smile on their face.
Oh yeah, you got to imagine.
Hugzor, despite his Tachanka plays with 9 kills, not bad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a. I guess if you think about it, Tachanka in a way is a fragging operator. I mean, he doesn't really do anything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting way to think about them in terms of. I mean, in theory, he should technically be an area control.
I suppose.
Sort of thing, but
yeah, you
like
could
an
say.
anchor, but
I don't know. That's not really a role.
At this point, he's not played enough to give him a role, other than maybe a dinner role.
Well, it's like a Cav can be an anchor, you know, so it's kind of difficult. But that's it. GG, a draw. Same as what we saw with Black Dragons and FaZe. And yeah, what an interesting one. I was going to say exciting, not necessarily exciting. Interesting is a good word, though. Don't forget to vote for the MVP. You could do so at ESL Rainbow 6. We'll have that poll up shortly. Overall, a really peculiar one. I feel like there were some opportunities missed from both teams. Liquid should have brought Maverick way earlier. T1 exposed themselves unnecessarily so many times. They were bringing Tachanka a lot, which is about the most direct way you can say that we don't care if we win this or not.
Yeah.
So overall, a really weird match. Anyway, we have another one. Ninjas and Pajamas versus Immortals will be the final match of the day, so we'll get to that right after this short break.